From now on, this is your new home. Sadly, we don't need someone who's sick. That's what I was told suddenly, and before I knew it, I was taken by car to my aunt's house. It was then that I learned my father decided he wouldn't pay for my medical expenses because he wanted to use the money for my sister's study abroad. I was in shock and couldn't say anything, but my aunt welcomed me warmly. She said, "Maria, won't you become my child?" And from that day, I started a new life as her and my uncle's child. Now, 12 years have passed. My name is Maria, and I have two sets of parents. One I don't like, but the other I respect and love. You might wonder why I have two sets of parents. It's because my illness created problems in my family. Since I was little, I've had seizures that nobody could explain, and I needed constant care. Medicine helped some, but stress and tiredness made the seizures worse, so my parents always told me not to do any physical activity. In school, I watched from the sidelines during gym class and couldn't play with my friends like everyone else. On the other hand, my younger sister Evelyn, who's 5 years younger than me, was full of energy and talent. Our parents had high hopes for her, especially in football. She joined a well-known mini-football club in elementary school, and her skills grew fast. Later, she joined a famous sports club, and she was always one of the top players, even leading the team during practice and games. Watching her made me feel proud, but also a bit jealous. During this time, my parents started treating Evelyn and me very differently. Evelyn got healthy, homemade meals, but I mostly got simple food like bread and instant soup, and sometimes I ate her leftovers. She wore nice, fashionable clothes, while I was given hand-me-downs. For birthdays, Christmas, and school achievements, Evelyn was celebrated, but I was often overlooked. This unfair treatment became a part of my daily life. My sweet sister, always happy, would ask me, "Big sister, won't you play football with me?" She'd hold the ball, her eyes shining. But I always had to say, "Sorry, I can't do intense exercise." I answered reluctantly. Evelyn looked up at the sky, thinking, then suddenly smiled and said, "We can at least pass the ball, right?" She held out the football to me. I thought I could handle just passing the ball, but my parents disagreed. My mom, especially, was very strict. Just as I was about to take the ball, she pushed my hand away and yelled, "Maria, you never know when you might have a seizure, so don't do anything." Evelyn froze in place, startled by her shouting. The ball fell to the ground and slowly rolled away. My mom picked it up, smiled at Evelyn, and said, "Evelyn, let's practice passing together." She glanced at me before walking away with Evelyn, talking kindly to her. After they left, I felt really sad and frustrated, and I cried alone. One event I can't forget happened when I was in my first year of middle school, and Evelyn was in 3rd grade. It was a spring day, and I wasn't feeling well, so I stayed in bed. My parents left to attend Evelyn's important football game, leaving me alone at home. I knew that when I wasn't feeling well, I was more likely to have a seizure, and being alone made me anxious. The stress built up, and by noon, I had a severe seizure. Realizing the danger, I called an ambulance. When I woke up, I was lying in a hospital bed. A nurse came to check on me and smiled, saying, "You're in the hospital. Do you understand?" I nodded, looking around the room, but my family wasn't there. "Has my family come to visit?" I asked. The nurse replied, "Your family is scheduled to come tomorrow morning. You'll be alone tonight." This confirmed that my parents and sister hadn't returned from the football trip yet. I thought to myself, even after being taken by ambulance, no one is worried about me. It's like I'm not even part of the family, just a burden. Tears filled my eyes, and I covered my head with a blanket, crying quietly. After that incident, my parents, facing criticism from the neighbors, started leaving me at my aunt's house more often. My dad's sister is my aunt. She and my uncle work at a game development company, and since they didn't have kids, they always enjoyed having me over. "It's fun having Maria around. It feels like we have our own child," my aunt would say. They both loved games and often taught me about their favorites, so I always looked forward to visiting them. One of the games they made together was set in a fantasy world and was so fun that I could play it for hours. At their house, I ate the same delicious meals they did. My aunt was an amazing cook, and I often asked for seconds. She'd also say, I've always wanted to pick out children's clothes, and happily chose clothes for me. Going to their house became my safe place, where I felt loved and cared for. One day, as my first year of junior high was ending and summer vacation was near, my dad took me to my aunt's house. The car was packed with my things, and I was excited to spend the summer there. After we arrived and unloaded my stuff, my dad, in an unusually good mood, came inside. But my aunt looked worried, and I started feeling anxious. My relationship with my dad wasn't great, so I didn't ask him what was going on. As I tried to figure out the situation, my dad spread his arms and said cheerfully, Look, from now on, this is your new home. We don't need a sick person anymore. I was shocked. My dad seemed happy, even though my aunt and other relatives were angry. My parents didn't seem to care. Their minds were focused on my sister's football scholarship abroad. To pay for her studies, they decided they wouldn't cover my medical expenses anymore. No matter how hard my aunt and uncle tried to convince them otherwise, my parents didn't listen. Then my aunt firmly said, If you stop her treatment, I will take Maria in. My parents quickly agreed. That's how I found out they had given up on me. I was speechless and in shock. My aunt spoke to me gently, saying, Your dad said you wanted to leave home too, which is why I agreed. But it looks like you weren't told anything. There's still time to fix this. You should talk to your parents and sort this out. But it felt too late to fix things with my parents. I couldn't see them as family anymore. I shook my head and looked at my aunt. If it's okay with you, Auntie, I want to stay here. Maria, I promise, she said. I promise I won't be a burden. I'll help around the house, so please let me stay. I stood up slowly and begged my aunt. If I had to leave, I'd have nowhere else to go. I want to live here with you, Auntie. Please, I pleaded, my voice shaking. My aunt and uncle exchanged confused looks, and I felt anxious, my body trembling. Then, my aunt gently stroked my head and said, Maria, won't you become our child? I looked up and saw both of them smiling warmly at me. Yes, please, I replied, tears of relief streaming down my face. My aunt, with tears in her eyes, hugged me tightly, and my uncle wiped his tears as he watched over us. From that day, I became their child. Eventually, we went through a special adoption process, and I legally became their daughter. Thanks to them, I was able to participate in gym class and enjoy playing with my friends. My health improved, and I rarely worried about my illness anymore. Living with my aunt and uncle made me truly happy. Later, I started competing in trading card games, and even though there was a risk of seizures, they never stopped me. They supported me and let me focus on the competition. I developed a strong desire to repay them one day. When I entered high school, I joined the trading card club, which was well known in the competitive card game world. I was excited to grow and show my skills. In my second year, I won the national championship, beating out prestigious schools. I was so happy that I ran home to share the news with my aunt and uncle. By that time, my seizures had almost completely stopped. Before graduating, a doctor told me that my illness was completely healed, and I was as healthy as my sister. After high school, I continued competing, and my aunt and uncle always supported me, celebrating my success as if it were their own. I started achieving stable, good results, and by the time I was 22, I was recognized as one of the top players. Now, at 24, I'm known as the Queen of Trading Cards. It has been about 12 years since my aunt and uncle took me in. I feel like it's time to give something back to them. Christmas is coming up, and I want to do something special to make them happy. I started making plans as I walked home, feeling the cold winter air. I noticed some unfamiliar shoes at the entrance. I'm home. Is someone here? I asked as I walked into the house. In the living room, there was a high school girl sitting on the sofa, and my aunt greeted me. Welcome back, she said. Who is this girl? I asked without thinking. She looked familiar. Then it hit me, Evelyn? Maria? I heard her voice. She had grown so much that I didn't recognize her at first, but I could still see the traces of her younger self. When I called her name, her face twisted, and she started crying. Maria, you remembered me. I'm so glad, she said. Yes, of course. What's going on? I asked, confused. My aunt started to explain. Evelyn ran away from home, she said. What? I said, looking at my sister in surprise. Evelyn nodded, wiping her tears. Ran away? What do you mean? I asked. Evelyn's voice trembled as she said, Maria, help me. She then began to explain what had been happening at home. When our dad forced me to leave, it had been a huge shock for Evelyn. She had begged our parents, crying, I'll quit football, just let Big Sis come home. But our father scolded her harshly. What are you saying? All of this was for your football. You can't give up now. I won't let you quit. You're your mother's only child, and you need to work hard and become a great player, my mother said coldly, ignoring Evelyn's feelings. Our parents had controlled Evelyn's life, making her focus on football, even though she didn't want to. This had been happening since she was little, and it continued all the way through high school. Finally, during a career counseling session, Evelyn found the courage to say she wanted to quit football. Our parents were furious. My father yelled, Do you know how much money we've spent on you? Your sister sacrificed for you. You're not allowed to stop until you go pro. Feeling trapped, Evelyn ran away to our aunt's house. I had no idea you were going through all of this, Evelyn, I said, completely at a loss for words. While I had been living freely with my aunt and uncle, my sister had been forced into a life she didn't want. Evelyn, you've been through so much. I didn't know anything. I'm sorry, I said. But Evelyn quickly shook her head in surprise. No, you've been through so much for me, and now I'm asking for help. I'm really sorry, she said, looking down. Her small shoulders trembled. Don't worry about it. I'm really happy you came here, I replied with a smile. My aunt and uncle nodded in agreement. That's right, my aunt said. It was good to get away from them, Evelyn. Relax. Your big sister will protect you now. Even though I said it, deep down I felt scared and hesitant to get involved. I wanted to help Evelyn, but I wasn't sure how to do it. I started making a plan. The day I decided to put my plan into action was Christmas, a cold day with a sky that looked like it might snow. After 12 years, I returned to my parents' house, gathering all my courage. I rang the doorbell. The door swung open, and my parents greeted me with, Welcome back. Oh, we've been waiting for you, my dad said. They both had overly bright smiles, which felt strange. They must have heard I was coming from my aunt. They should have known it was about Evelyn. Waiting? What are you talking about after you threw me out? I asked, feeling confused by their friendly attitude. My mom, in a sweet but fake voice, took my hand and said, Come on, it's cold. Let's go inside. No, I'm fine here. I'm busy and can't stay long, I replied quickly. Their smiles faded for a moment, but they quickly forced them back and began talking loudly in a strange way. The queen of the trading card world, huh? Your dad is so proud of you. Me too. You've won so much prize money. I've been bragging about it to everyone, my mom said. I was getting annoyed by their behavior, so I calmly responded, Why? Because a family should be together, right? My dad answered. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. How dare they say that after abandoning me? I felt angry inside, but they didn't seem to notice. They kept trying to sweet-talk me. Your mom cleaned up your room when she heard you were coming back. We hope you can relax here, they said. We even replaced the carpet in your room, so you can practice at home. Feel free to ask us for anything. As they continued talking, it became clear to me. These people weren't really interested in me. They were just using my success to show off to the neighbors. They had created a fake story about how they supported me as a top trading card player, just to boast. Sending Evelyn abroad for football wasn't about her either, it was all for appearances. I watched my parents with a sarcastic smile. It's truly pathetic how selfish you are. Your efforts are pointless. Actually, I'm planning to quit competitive trading card gaming in a few years. What? My parents were shocked. My dad didn't know what to say, and my mom looked stunned. Competitive card gaming requires quick reflexes, focus, and physical stamina, I continued. I can't keep up with younger players forever. I'll retire after winning a bit more prize money. I spoke cheerfully, but my parents were clearly upset. So, what will you do after you retire? My dad asked. Well, I might be unemployed for a while, I said with a smile, watching their reactions. The fake smiles vanished, and they looked angry. Unemployed? Without a real job? Do you know how embarrassing that would be for me at work? My dad exclaimed. Exactly. So, you can forget about me. I never planned on coming back here anyway, I replied calmly. You're so disrespectful, my dad shouted, his voice echoing in the quiet neighborhood. My mom looked around, worried about the neighbors hearing him. I came here to talk about Evelyn. She's living safely with me at our aunt's house now, I said.
What?
Did you kidnap her? That's unforgivable. Give her back to her mother. My mom suddenly acted like a victim. I looked her in the eye and said firmly, No, I'm not giving her back. I'll take care of my sister. What are you talking about? I'll call the police, they shouted, clearly upset. I stayed calm and responded, I've already talked to the police and reported the situation to Child Services. I've also consulted a lawyer. You're the ones in the wrong here.
What? What are you saying? My dad asked.
I've been talking to professionals to make sure Evelyn is safe. Since she's 19 now, she has the legal right to decide where she lives. She left home to escape your control, and there's no legal issue with her choosing to live with me. I stood my ground confidently, knowing I had the law on my side. Staying with you only brings us misery. My sister and I aren't tools for you to show off. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed a neighbor stepping outside, probably hearing the argument and wanting to see what is happening. I decided to use the moment to make a point. Everyone, these people stopped my medical treatment just to send my sister abroad for football. If my aunt and uncle hadn't taken me in, I might not even be alive today. I shouted as loud as I could. Oh, wait, what are you saying? Ignoring my panicked mother, I raised my voice even more. You forced Evelyn to become a football player just for your own pride, sacrificing her childhood. Quiet down, my father's face turned red with anger, and he reached out to grab me. But I shook off his hand and kept going. What kind of parents are you? Saying you won't let her quit until she becomes a professional player? You only see your kids as tools. Neither Evelyn nor I will ever come back here. If you try to interfere, I'll call the police. Just so you know, I'm ready to sue. That's why I came today. I stared at my parents with a firm look. They looked uncomfortable, their faces twisted as they struggled to respond. I noticed many neighbors watching our argument from their windows and yards, looking surprised and concerned. I promised myself I would never come back here again, and with that, I confidently left the house. Years passed, and 10 years later, when I turned 32, I decided to retire from competitive trading card gaming. I originally planned to retire at 27, but I put my life on hold to take care of Evelyn. Because of the intense training she went through as a child, Evelyn developed a knee injury. This forced her to give up her dream of becoming a professional football player, so she set a new goal to become a physical therapist. After a year of prep school, Evelyn moved on to vocational school. During that time, I learned just how much she had suffered under our parents. I hadn't fully realized it until she came to me for help. To make up for the past, I decided to support her education. Eventually, Evelyn graduated from vocational school and became a licensed physical therapist. Now, she's dedicated to helping athletes. Every time we meet, she cheerfully says, "One day, I'll repay you, Maria," her face full of energy and happiness.